Hey, it's Tony Robbins. Listen, I'm reaching out to you because if you're not familiar with it and you're looking for ways to change or improve your life, there's a particular form of psychology that might be useful for you to take a look at. It's called energy psychology. It's really a tool that's been taught around the world. It's been validated by 60 different scientific studies. And it just allows you to tap energy spots in the body. And I know that sounds airy-fairy. This tapping device allows you to take emotions when you're frustrated, angry, sad, depressed, overwhelmed, and let the energy of that out of your body. I know it sounds crazy, but again, scientifically proven, and it's something that's worth doing your homework on.
Now it's time to demonstrate the basic recipe for you. Before we begin, I'm going to assume that you've already read the tapping tips, the tapping points, and the 5 steps to the basic recipe that preceded this video. So the first thing we're going to do now is identify our issue. Our issue in this case we're going to assume is a sore shoulder, just for demonstration purposes. And then the next thing, make a before assessment on its intensity, on the 0 to 10 number for it. And so I'm going to assume, let's just call this an 8. So we have a sore shoulder at an 8 intensity. Now, the next thing we do is the setup. And the setup is simply to tap this karate chop point while we say a phrase. And the phrase goes like this: even though I have this blank, I deeply and completely accept myself. The blank you fill in with whatever the issue is. In this case, it's a sore shoulder. It could be this inability to shoot free throws while playing a basketball game. It could be these nightmares I've been having for years. It could be any one of a number of things. But we're just going to choose, we're filling the blank here with this sore shoulder. So the process looks like this. First of all, let's just identify the karate chop spot. You've already seen it, on the tutorial, but it's that fleshy part of the hand that is on the outside of the hand. It's a part of your hand with which you would do a karate chop if you were to do a karate chop. So we just tap in there with 2 or more fingers while we say the following: even though I have this sore shoulder, I deeply and completely accept myself. See, just take seconds, and that's all there is to it. Now, from there, we go to the sequence. A little more involved, a few more tapping points. And I'm going to go through each of the tapping points for you now. And you can just tap along with me if you wish, or identify them, touch the points yourself as you do this. And that will just help you memorize it all the easier. We're going to combine tapping with each of these tapping points with what we call a reminder phrase. And that reminder phrase is just a very brief statement that reminds our system what it is we're working on. So in this case, it's just going to be this sore shoulder. Easy. So the first point is going to be the top of the head. And I usually take, 4 fingertips like this, and I just put it at the top of the head right there, and I just tap around in there. I usually just cover a little larger area to make sure I got everything. And while you tap the top of the head, you say, this sore shoulder. Okay? Some people, by the way, will just take the flat of their hand and just pat like that. You can do that as well if you wanted. The next point is we call it the eyebrow point. It's actually the beginning of the eyebrow. If you just put your fingers at the top of your nose and go up a little bit and over to one side, I went over to my right side in this case. That's the eyebrow point. Now you could have gone to the left side. That's also the eyebrow point. These are the twin points that we discussed in the tutorial, but you only need to tap one of them. So we're going to take 2 fingers and we're just going to cover a nice large area there and just tap right there while we say this sore shoulder. Okay? You've seen the reminder phrase. The next point is the side of the eye. Now it's not back here where the temple is. It's on the actual bone on the outside corner of the eye. It's right there. And so we'll tap that with a couple of fingertips while we say a reminder phrase, this sore shoulder. The next point is under the eye. It's located about 1 inch below the pupil on that bone underneath the eye there. And we'll take a couple of fingertips and we'll tap there and say, this sore shoulder. Okay. The next point is under the nose. Easy enough. We just tap right under the nose. In fact, let me turn this way so you can see it from this angle. And as we tap, we say this, sore shoulder. See, the next point is the chin point, and that point is located midway between the top of the, between the bottom of the lip and the chin point, right in between there. In fact, I'll turn this way so you can see that. Okay, that's the chin point, and as we tap that, we say a reminder phrase, in this case, this, sore shoulder. Now, the next point is a little more difficult to describe. We call it the collarbone point. It's not actually on the collarbone or what we call the clavicle. That's not really where it is. It's right at the beginning of the collarbone point. And I'm going to pull my shirt down here and get the microphone out of the way if I can. There are 2 points here, and they're located, let me see, right there. The way you find those is you take your fingertip and you put it at the base of your throat where that soft spot is, and it's also where at the very top of the breastbone there's a sort of a U. You feel it right in there. From that point you go down toward the navel about an inch, and then over to the right or to the left, either side. I'll go over to my right, and that's the beginning of the collarbone point, and you would tap right there. Now you'll see me tap that point a lot on the companion videos if you have those. But I'm going to show you an easier way to get to it as a beginner, and you can use this if you choose. And that would be to take your fist and to thump at the top of your breastbone about where a man would knot his tie. That's easy to do, easy to remember, and actually you'll probably cover both points as you do that. Now, the final point, and as we do that, we want to say our reminder phrase, which is this, sore shoulder. Now, the last point is, we call it under the arm. But we have to be clear here. Under the arm doesn't mean like here. That's under the arm. But we mean under the arm on the rib cage. And the way you find the point is you take your fingertip, you put it in your armpit, and you go down towards your waist on your rib cage about 4 inches. And that's where the point is. And so you would either, I like to tap with, like 4 fingers there. But some people just slap it like that while we say our reminder phrase, this sore shoulder. Well, another way to locate that point is for the men. It's right even with the nipple. So you just went around from the nipple, went around, there's your point. And for the ladies, where the bra strap goes across the rib cage, right in the middle of that is where you would tap it. Okay. So that's simple enough. We've now got the setup. We've got the sequence. All we need to do after we do a round of this is that let's assess now, gee, how was our issue? How was our sore shoulder? And for this demonstration, I'm going to say, that's a little better, because that's typical. What number is it on a scale of 0 to 10? Well, let's say it's a 4. Well, okay, we went from an 8 to a 4. That's about a 50% improvement. Yeah, that feels about right, okay? But we're not down to 0. So what we do is we repeat the whole process, and we assess again. Maybe now we're a 2, maybe we're 0, but we keep going until we're either 0 or we plateau at some level. If we're 0, of course, we're done. If we plateau at some level, that simply means we need to learn more about EFT, other things to do with the basic recipe, and that's covered in part 2 of this tutorial.